Hey guys, how's it going? It's Griever back here, bringing all you sins and commandments alike, episodes 19 and 20 of 7 Deadly Sins, also known as Nanatsu no Taizai's second season. So, this is going to be, hopefully, shorter than even the last one, because honestly, episode 19 is They Fight. If you were a scriptwriter, you might have a few details about what happens in the fight, key moments, but you would just write They Fight and then move on to the dialogue, because that's what this whole episode is. As we know, at the end of the last one, episode 18, Escanor faked out his attack on Gother and slammed Gloxinia and Dolar into the damn ground. They are beaten and bloodied. This is where Meliodas, everyone's shocked and all that stuff. Meliodas comes down and he's like, alright, opening time, because I know that Dolar's eye can see through and perceive most people's thoughts and feelings. So I didn't tell anybody my plan. My plan was to just enjoy the festival and wait for you guys to drop your guard. Even me taking you two head on guard, that might, even I could potentially fail in that battle. But now, Escanor gave me an opening, he blasted you guys down, and now I'm going to cut you guys down to size. So, for the rest of the characters, though, they basically get swallowed up into Dolar's, the two arms that held up the big match, the big festival. They basically crush them in and keep them inside a dome-like thing. Though the mage that was paired with Gilthunder decides that he is able to teleport everyone away back to Leona's castle. Great feat. I wonder who that is. But this person this mage manages to teleport the rest of the main cast away from the battlefield. And they watch through an orb. They simply watch through the same mage's orb, seeing everything that's going down. They can hear and see everything that's going down. Now, the fight scenes are awesome. Now, I can't really go through and go piece by piece on which parts were better than others. All I can say, because this is not a live reaction and I can't really, watch it and see it and review it at the same time, but suffice to say, I thought this fight scene was really well done. I thought the music was pretty good, and I just thought the brutality of the attacks, like, this is a no-holds-barred. This is limbs being cut off, punches to the gut, broken bones, explosions, atomic bomb-level things, blow up mountains, blow up everything. This was more of a Dragon Ball Z-level fight, at this point. And it was really cool, guys. It was really, really cool seeing, and you got to see all the different attacks, him taking on Dolar, then Gloxinia. Nothing got stale. Nothing got old. The majority of the episode, as I said, was a big fight, but nothing got old. However, the problem is that once they started fighting, Meliodas kind of, it's not his fault, but he kind of almost took too long to try to kill these two. And of course, we know from the episode that Gloxinia and Dolar betrayed them because they got so warped. They had twisted feelings about it. Of course, because the humans ended up betraying, and we know this in the manga, just to what extreme it was. But Gloxinia was betrayed and lost the one, or he perceives that he lost the one that he loves the most in the whole world and cherished in the whole world. And this was caused by humans. So when he was on the side to fight against the Demon King, this betrayal happened, and he got warped. He got messed. And now he doesn't think that humans are they should all be just destroyed. They should be massacred. Get rid of the human race, and he'd be happy. He's not necessarily on the demon side. He just wants to eradicate the humans, and the best way to do it, be part of the demon clan. It's really simple. Dolar, being the original giant king, as we found out from Matrona and Deanne and stuff, is that he was a prideful warrior, one of the most prideful warriors. His backstory will come later, probably more like season 3, because I believe we're wrapping up this season 2 here. I'm not sure how many episodes were planned, but I'm going to assume 24, 25, kind of feeling there. And so we won't know too much about it, because I felt like his explanation, like Gloxinia's, kind of makes sense just at that vague statement. But Dolar's didn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's like, okay, your pride as a warrior was hurt, so you decided to turn around your honor and loyalty and trust and just, I'm jumping on the other side because they beat me. No, Dolar's story is a little more complex, and you got to read more into his status as a warrior and his backstory of being the head of the giant clans. So there is more to that story, because that does feel kind of weak at first. Suffice it to say that Meliodas, not only did he take too long to try to kill them, but he also his sentimentality, Gloxinia brings it up multiple times, is that his sentimentality that he does not actually want to kill his old friends. You got to remember, these guys were all friends fighting on the same side. They were comrades and friends. How close of friends? Well, probably pretty good, because Meliodas does not want to kill them. You know, we can see it, like he had multiple opportunities to instead cut Gloxinia in half or cut his head off. Yet he continued to punch him in the gut, elbow in the face, things like that, incapacitate him, and he kept cutting off Dolor's arms, but he didn't cut off his head. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, because of that, the other commandments found out exactly what went down. They do realize that one of them is missing, being Galen. Melisukla is alive with a burnty, crispy body, but of course we know that Galen is gone, so there is only officially 9 left. Now, this is where the fight really gets intense. Of course, he starts to go up against Zeldris, and we see that Zeldris is certainly no slouch, cutting off Meliodas' arm with very relative ease. And they're coming to blows, and he the point of this, I believe, was to showcase a little bit of each commandment and what they could do. Not necessarily their powers. It wasn't really necessarily a big info dump, because we already had, okay, this is Gloxinia, this is Dolor. We don't want to go boom, 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 boom down the line in 4 chapters or in 2 episodes, so to speak. But we do get a little hint at different people. We find out Derriere's ability is Combo Star. The more consecutive hits she gets without herself being hit. One of those like classic video game RPG elements. The attack power keeps doubling. So that's pretty cool. And then we do see that Monspeak gets in on the action, and who else gets in on the action? Melisukla kind of stays in the background for the most part, and after the initial conflict, so does Zeldris. All Grey Road ends up doing is using binding, what's it called? Binding resentment, binding restraints, something like that. Terrible resentment, something along those lines. It's binding something, I believe. And what it does is that once he gets out of the circle and he tries to escape, he cannot. He's teleported back to the original location. And as Grey Road explains, this spell, this dark magic spell, prevents you from leaving this spot without, basically, I'm imagining, it's not really stated in the subs, but it's basically killing me. He has to go through the 10 commandments. His options are kill the 10 commandments and then leave, or die. Those are his 2 options at this point. He cannot escape anymore. So it suffice it to say that the only one capable at this point of actually helping Meliodas would be Escanor, considering the short work he made of 2 commandments pretty easily. Could have killed Melisukla had he actually had the intention to do so. Melisukla was more like a fly in his way. The problem is, as we saw, it's nighttime. Escanor's in his weak state. It's not morning, so he's got no choice. He's got no power. So that's really unfortunate, and the rest of them are basically fodder compared to the 10 commandments. Now, Meliodas holds his own for a good long while, but slowly it takes its toll. He can't continuously be fighting different commandments over and over, and eventually he tries to fake them out with the same attack at the end of the first season, which was Revenge Counter, where he takes in as much damage as his demon body can handle, and then he uses the counter attack, but it's Revenge Counter, all the magical he's used. Now, the rest of them are worried. Before this, of course, we do get a quick shot with Dreyfus, that Dreyfus's heart is still within Fraudrin, or Dreyfus's heart is still within his own body. His mind and his soul are still there, and they do come out for a split second, but it doesn't seem to matter much because he still attacks Meliodas. So everyone basically gets a turn. And then finally, as I said, Revenge Counter, and most of them are afraid, and they do state this later, that this could be bad. Like, bad in what way? Would it have done the level that Escanor's attack did? Because I believe, as Gothus surmises, this is 30 times stronger than the Revenge Counter he used against Hendrickson. In my mind, this could probably eradicate 2 or 3 of the commandments with ease and severely damage the rest of them, had the attack actually worked. I'm under the impression it probably would have killed off Melisukla, Grey Road, maybe one of the others, but I would definitely say those 2 would be gone, and probably Fraudrin. those three, especially being in Dreyfus's body, his body wouldn't be able to handle it. So I would say that those three would have definitely been destroyed by this attack. Now, we finally get the appearance of Esta motherfucking Rosa. And this guy was so cool when first introduced. So damn cool. And I'm still going to stay hyped for this, regardless what I think of his character later on in the manga series. Right now, Esta is still Mr. Mystery Man that looks like older Meliodas badass with silver hair. And he basically stops the sword. He pulls an Aizen, ting, catching the Bankai. No big deal with the ultimate attack. Like, this is the strongest characters, and then ping, no problem. We find out later why that is, and we'll find out in a few episodes, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler thing, especially since you guys should probably know about it. It's, in my mind, it's not because he's powerful enough to stop that. It's because Revenge Counter is just that, revenge. It uses wrath. It's a hate-based ability. It's something with emotion behind it. It's a revenge counter. It's a malice. It's wrath, which is what Meliodas is good at. So because of this, and we'll find out very, very soon about how to counter this ability, but his commandment of charity and or love, that commandment, and this is why the only reason I believe that he was able to stop revenge counters, not because Esteros is so way up here, it's because of his commandment. His commandment makes it so that all attacks are nullified towards him. If you feel anger, hate, the more you want to attack him, the less you'll back away. You want to go forward, you'll go backwards. You want to grip your sword tighter, you'll drop it. That's kind of the commandment of charity. I still call it charity, even though he's considered Esterosa of love. I always consider it charity. The charity commandment, to me, works in this way, whereas revenge counter is an anger-based, wrath-based, malice-based move. It's a negative emotion directed towards them, and so his commandment nullifies the attack, prevents it from happening, because nothing based, if you try to punch him, you'll probably stroke his face. That's the way it works. Now, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women out there, and some dudes, don't get me wrong, I understand, would like to stroke that chiseled jaw and that pretty little goatee he's got going on, but that's not the point. You want to hit him, and you're not going to. That being said, I believe that is what happened here. It's never, I believe, officially stated that that's what happened, but there's no damn way Esterosa, especially knowing what we know now in the manga series, there's no way he was that powerful right there versus Meliodas' revenge counter. It's just not the way it is. So his commandment caused that. Don't cream your panties just quite yet, guys, over how badass Esterosa is, because it was his commandment's ability, not his own actual power or strength. He's not way up here compared to Meliodas in that regard. So that's basically where the first episode ends. He crushes down on Meliodas. Meliodas is basically all out of gas at this point, and now he's crushing his rib cage with his foot. The next episode is kind of a two-parter. It finishes off the battle, being the fact that Bond does decide that he will be teleported in to, give Meliodas a chance. He can't let Meliodas die. Now, this is where he appears, and Esterosa keeps saying, "My older brother Meliodas, I love you. This is making me so sad. You betrayed us," and all this stuff. It's revealed that he was the original leader of the Ten Commandments, and he was the most powerful, and everyone looked up to him. So when he betrayed, and he compares the Ten Commandments to the Seven Deadly Sins, which is an easy comparison. Horcruxes, hollows, same thing. It's the same idea, is that he believes that Meliodas, who was the original cause, he was the catalyst for the Holy War originally, and of course the leader of the Ten Commandments, and he betrayed them. He believes that Meliodas came up with this because he's that conniving. He's so twisted. He came up with something so exciting and fun to cure the boredom. And he believes he's going to do the same thing with the sins. He's collected a bunch of powerful people to start shit all over again. And he's going to betray the sins at some point. Now, I don't believe that's true, but, this is what Esterosa perceives that Meliodas is trying to pull and what he's going to do. Now, as we see, Bond is hugging Elaine and decides to leave, gets teleported and stuff, because he goes to kill Melisukla, which is the only reason Elaine is still actually alive, because Melisukla's spell is still active. Now, I honestly forget what happens here. because it's revealed by Estarossa that the superior demons all have 7 hearts, and you need to destroy all 7 to kill a superior demon. So he goes through the whole knifing each of Meliodas' hearts one by one. Okay. My problem with this is that, well, it's not really a problem, but I did a quick count, and I could have been off, but Melissuca already lost 1 heart, as far as I was aware. Lost 1 heart, and when Bon first attacked them. And now Melissuca has lost another 5. That's very convenient, but I did not count 6. She already lost 1, so yet Elaine has disappeared, which is revealed in the later part of the episode. So, was it full 7? I'm not 100% on what's going on here, guys, to be perfectly honest with you. But because I honestly forget that little chunk. But assuming that I'm correct in saying that it was only 5 hearts this time, 1 heart before, she still actually has 1 heart left. And it still probably hurts like a bitch. But I'm still kind of curious as to why Elaine would disappear if it was only 5. So I'm not really 100% on the count there, guys. And this is more for the later on in the manga. This number will be significant. The 7 hearts of the demons. Now, Bon tries his best after snapping Melissuca's neck and all that stuff. Tries his best to prevent Estarossa from doing this. But as I said before, they don't know it at the time, but Bon is crushing his neck. He's using Hunter's Feast. He's doing everything he can. He's bulked up to hell, trying to stop Estarossa from killing Meliodas, but he can't do anything. And at the time, we're like, damn, this dude's a badass, just like before with the stopping of the sword. The thing is that once again, the commandment of charity or love does not allow him to be harmed in that way, because Bon's like, I'm not going to let you. He feels anger or hate, negative feelings towards Estarossa, and so this is not actually doing anything. He's basically hugging him. He's not trying to choke him. We don't really see that, and it's not explained yet, but that's basically what's going down. But as I said before, guys, I don't really feel like that's spoilers, because next couple episodes, it's definitely explained anyways. So it's not a huge, big reveal. I'm just giving you my thoughts on this going down initially with that information in mind. So Meliodas dies, and everyone's weeping, and Bon's gone. But as we know, of course, Bon the Immortal, he'll be back. Now, this is where Elizabeth asks to be teleported, finds Meliodas' body, and this is a very sad scene. Like, Elizabeth keeps crying and stuff. It's all very tragic, and the soundtrack is beautiful, of course. I felt like this could have been done a little bit better, a little longer, dragged out somehow. Maybe have every time, Elizabeth says, like, Meliodas, Lord Meliodas, each time she said that, looking around this battlefield looking for his body, could have had a flashback of just a quick scene, like in that saturated, like, sepia, you know what I mean, just a little, even a screenshot or a quick, like, scene. Doesn't need to be sound, just have the soundtrack get louder and just draw out the scene a little more. I felt like it would have been more emotional, because to me it was emotional, but it wasn't long enough for me to really get the feelings going. And that's what I like a lot about anime, is that usually their scenes are dragged out long enough that you get that feeling, So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in that regard, but the scene was still done fine. We cut over and we see basically what everyone's doing. Elizabeth does cure Matrona's children, blah, blah, blah. They decide that Matrona, Deanne, King, they're all going to go back to the Fairy King's forest for protection, that kind of idea. We see that Arthur and Nanashi, I believe his name is, the samurai, the Mr. Samurai himself, the cool badass, can kill ash demons like their fodder. So he's a goddamn badass, this western samurai, and he's really, really cool, but he seems to know something about Arthur, and he's staying with Arthur for some reason, and we need to know more about this dude. I want to know his story. He's one of the most mysterious characters in the show, being as powerful as he is, with no explanation as to, A, why is he there in Britannia, halfway across the world, assuming the world is similar, B, like, He's halfway across the world. Why is he so strong? Why has he taken an interest in Arthur and the weird cat, who can apparently talk, named Kath, on top of Arthur's shoulder, which he got somehow in that druid training ground, came out with it, and no one seems to know what the hell that was. And I honestly, in the manga, we still don't know, guys, so it's not something that's a big shocker yet. We still don't know. I've got my theories on that, but this is not the place for those theories, because they may or may not end up being spoilers for the current manga chapters. So yeah, basically we just kind of cut around to the different characters. We see that the commandments have spread out and trying to take over Britannia piece by piece in their own little ways. We see that the Weird Fangs have tried to kind of take over some areas and stuff like that, but they're working to protect different villages. They've been sent out, things like that. It's very strange. I don't really get that scene, but I guess the northern village was taken over because now the Fraudrin, or Dreyfus, in Fraudrin and Dreyfus's body, has taken over some of the towns, but tells the citizens, hey, bring me holy knights, because their souls, of course, have a lot more value. Their the holy knights' souls to feast on. I'll let your village and family alone for 1 month, 3 months, depending on how much you bring me, sort of idea. So a lot of the citizens, to protect their town and protect their families, are actually turning on the holy knights that are trying to protect them. We see that Gother has been officially locked up by Denzel and Deathpierce, and we see that Bond and Slater are just kind of trying to work out what's been going on. We see that apparently Merlin has been locked in her laboratory and doesn't seem to be helping very much. So everyone's spread out. They're trying to protect the castle. They're trying to protect the towns, and there's just different situations going on everywhere. And the scene with I forget her name, but the other Weird Fang woman, not the guy Ruin, but the other one, I forget her name. But she doesn't have her helmet on anymore, and she's rather attractive. But this was feeling very rape vibey, and I was like, and then thankfully, now what they did with her body afterwards, I have no idea, and I don't want to think about that, but Dreyfus does take her soul and eat it. So now all the Weird Fangs have basically been taken care of, with the exception of one. We end out the episode with seeing that one of the Weird Fang members, the one that had, I believe that was the invisibility Weird Fang, who back when it was just Elizabeth, Deanne, Hawk, and Meliodas, traveling around looking for the Sins, and they were in charge. The Weird Fangs were, of course, the ones in charge of Bosse Prison, where Bond was, and stuff like that. Now, this is where we see that Elizabeth has actually taken over the Boar's Hat and is serving ale to all the customers and still traveling around on the Boar's Hat. Nice to see her in good spirits, because the last time we saw her, she was healing people and just like, I'll see what I can do for the people. I believe that all she's doing right now is biding her time. It's never really brought up, I guess, why she's doing this. I guess to kind of keep the memory alive, maybe. But really, what can she do? All she can do is heal people and help people. So traveling around on Mama Hawk with the Boar's Hat is probably her best way to help people, bring comfort to people, find out what's going on, rumors and such, and also, like that's all she can really do. What she's supposed to do. She's a princess of Leonis. Leonis is being protected as best it can. Like, she wouldn't serve any purpose really staying in one spot. So I do understand that. But we see that she took in the Weird Fangs person. Whether or not she knows, because we never saw their faces prior to that, she might not know that that is the one who was behind her or something, like before. I don't know. It's likely she does. But yeah, so that's basically the end of episode 20. So now we're kind of getting into a new almost arc feeling. Like these last two episodes were almost like a accumulation battle, a culmination where we finished off things. Meliodas is now dead. The 7 deadly sins are scattered once again, and the 10 commandments are winning. They're taking over all of Britannia. Camelot has fallen. Leonis is being under siege. It's just not a great situation, and now all the main characters are split off, and they don't seem to be able to do very much other than just simply defend themselves. Gil Thunder and Hauser managed to hold off some demons pretty well. Like, where's it going to go from here? But I feel like once the battle ended with Elizabeth crying Holy Meliodas' body, we were almost beginning the new arc. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't try to draw this out and end the season right then and there with Meliodas dead. 7 knives sticking out of him and all that stuff. But, I mean, I'm not upset by this because the next couple episodes are going to prove to be some of the best episodes. I guarantee you guys that. They will be so great. But I'm kind of wondering, when are they going to end the season? What big moment is going to end the season? Because this, to me, felt like the beginnings of a new arc. The later half of this episode, this was kind of a, there was the big battle at the end of the arc, and Meliodas lost. Demons won. Next arc, we had some passing of time, clearly, and usually, even if you only have a few weeks, a few months, a few years time skip is usually an indication of a new arc. So I'm finding it very odd that this late in the season, being episode 20, we're going to be doing this. So that being said, guys, this has been Griever with your episodes review for episode 19 and 20 of 7 Deadly Sins season 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you back here next time for episode 21, which I hope to get out in the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.